Injuries and suspensions. What a way to start off the playoffs.
Yeah, join us as we break down this amazing prime time matchup. We will give you some in-depth analysis as well as some game scripting to help you create the best possible lineups in the shortest amount of time.
Welcome to DFS Insights. I'm David Geistlinger, and I'm joined by my cousin David Grant Jr. The teams up on the block are the Green Bay Packers at the Minnesota Vikings. But before we go ahead and get over to that game overview, let's go ahead and I'll give you a quick recap of my Thursday night football lineups between the Jets and the Browns, which we'll just I'll give myself some credit. It didn't go so well, but no, just kidding. It went terribly. So I did go heavy on the Jets, just thinking it was going to be lower owned, and where I thought, after that first drive, I was like, oh, I'm going to be in the money for sure, and then the Jets just imploded like they in Jet fashion. So yeah, that was my night.
Yeah, man. That's what happens when two injury-riddled teams go head-to-head in DFS football. Speaking of something similar, I believe your beloved Green Bay Packers are facing off against the Vikings, where both teams are definitely not only in a winner-go-home scenario, but both teams have significant injuries that could largely affect the outcome of each of these teams' seasons. Not just the game, the seasons are on the line.
Yeah, basically, as you can see here, both teams are 7-8. So this is a playoff game. Winner goes home. Both teams basically need to win out the whole scenario. It basically it's next to impossible if they don't win. Is it mathematically probable if they lose? Yes, but it's like 1%. So no. Yeah, like you said, both teams are riddled with injuries. I was looking at it actually this morning, and there was like 15 injuries total, and I was just like, well, tonight's show is going to just be like, hey, wait and see. But I guess after the walkthrough today, a lot of those injuries did get cleared up, and we'll brush on those when we head over to the player lineup. But as far as the game, this is the second time we've seen Minnesota. They destroyed us the first go around, 24-10. Yeah, it was Kirk Cousins though, so I have some level of confidence a little bit. Actually, not really. After the previous matchup with Green Bay, giving up 30 points to the Panthers, and our defensive coordinator, the goal on that guy to say that we played 53 minutes of the best defense, giving up 17 points, which is more points than the Panthers average all season. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, I would argue though that you guys scored in your guys' first matchup. You did only score 10 points, and they had 4 sacks and an interception. But before that, I mean, put it this way: besides you guys, Carolina they put up 7 points against them. And I'm just touching on that is that's the second lowest, that's the second best Minnesota's defense did. But then after that, I mean, I don't know if it's due to some injuries or some other stuff, but man, I mean, Atlanta put 26 on them. Denver put 21. New Orleans put 19. Oh, my bad. Looks like they shut out the Raiders, just a couple weeks ago. But then Cincinnati put 27 on them, and Detroit put 30.
Oh yeah, no, they have a pretty porous defense, but I mean, ours looks like Swiss cheese, right? Green Bay. But yeah, but if you look at Minnesota, 14 out of their last 15 games have been one-score games. One score being 8 points. So because there is a few 8-point games in there, so they're at least losing close, I guess, and
Yeah.
winning close. So I mean, we on top of injuries, we decided to go ahead and suspend our best defensive player for running out on the field and playing the captain's role and almost messing up the the coin flip, Jair Alexander. Why you would suspend him, like take that after season or something, like I get it, like discipline him, but like come on, like he last year when Justin Jefferson was averaging 200 yards a game, he literally held him to 2 catches for like 25 yards, and you're pulling this guy in this level of a game. That's insane. I mean, mind you, he has been hurt and all that stuff this year. He hasn't been really living up to the potential this year, but still, we're paying him buku months amount of money. He needs to play, but no, we're going to go ahead and suspend him. Yeah, the Panthers game, we were the only team that has given Bryce Young a 300-yard game. And we gave up basically a total of 400 total offensive yards at an average of like almost 6.5 yards per play. That was last game against the Panthers. So our defense, how Barry said our defense looked good is baffling. And it's not just me being a Green Bay fan. It's literally like the NFL community. Like how LaFleur and how the Green Bay owner, how he still has a job is right now is beyond me. Like, dude, put in the kicker coach, to coach the defense right now. We'll take it. But anyway, that's enough of me ranting about that. But as far as these matchup, I think it's going to be a close game. Both teams give up a lot of points. Green Bay shows spurts of life in their offense. Don't have too much information on what this Jaren Hall guy can do. I mean, we'll get further into detail about that when we break down the player analysis. But he's basically the 4th-string quarterback.
Man,
they didn't trust him, right? They didn't trust him after Cousins went down. They brought in Dobbs. Dobbs failed. They didn't trust him after Dobbs failed. They went with Mullins. Mullins, they trusted after throwing 700 interceptions in 2 games. And now they're like, you know what? Our season's on the line. Get in there. So I think right now, it's a desperation play. So that's something, that could work in our favor or against us, because he's playing for a spot, but he could be, playing too hard for that spot and make some critical errors. So.
Yeah. It's I mean, I feel for Minnesota in that's what happened to the 49ers. So I get it. Do you think that might be a difference maker in this game? Is going to come down to how well he it's up to Minnesota's going to have to come out and take it from you guys versus you guys. You guys are going to have to lose the game. I think you guys, as bad as the defense is, I think your offense might be able to make up for it. It'll be interesting.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting.
Based on, I'm kind of waiting to hear the news on a few other injuries, for Minnesota, Addison, the wide receiver. That's a huge receiver for him. I mean, Justin Jefferson is, Justin Jefferson, but Addison's been lighting it up this year. So that's a huge play on that. It's okay, now with all these eyes on our defense, is are we gonna switch it up? I really hope so, but I doubt it. So, but I mean, I'm hoping we come out there. I think our offense, we have for the most part, a lot of our players are healthier than we have been. So hopefully we're all on the same page. So, but we can start breaking down these individual players here, starting with the quarterbacks now, and we can get into more detail about that. So I'll let you go ahead and start off with these top tier quarterbacks here.
Man, I mean, if there was ever a time for Jordan Love to step up, really solidify. He's the next man up. I mean, he's everything Green Bay's wanted, thought he was, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is the game to do it. I mean, this really could solidify it. And man, it's obviously they haven't priced even at 16K. Um, I, I s- I just because I don't have enough information and enough faith in Jaron Hall to like even have a clue of what he's gonna do. I mean, except that he was sitting on the couch, not too long ago. Um, I feel like that's going to give Green Bay some more ball control. And as far as that goes, if the ball's in Jordan Love's hands a lot, man, he can. We just need a solid game out of him. I'll have a lot of access to him primarily in the MVP. At the 16K, I could, obviously I'll have some other guys there as well. Do I see if I play Jordan Love, putting him in a flex position? Probably not. I mean, if I'm making 100 lineups, maybe 2 or 3. That's just me. As far as how much exposure to Jaron Hall I'm going to have, only because of the unknown and only because of how bad, unfortunately, Green Bay's defense is, I'll definitely have some exposure at the 13.5. I think, every no one knows what to expect, and I think the ownership will be low. And while we don't really have a ceiling or a floor on him, the weapon, with Justin Jefferson being back, like you said, it's going to be huge if Addison is in or not. Um, you know, if if both of those guys are in, they definitely got a shot. Let's just put it that way. I'll have exposure to both quarterbacks for sure. What are your thoughts on the quarterback situation?
Yeah, so just looking around, the average fantasy points for Jaron Hall is like projection wise is about 13. And I think that has, to be honest, a lot to do with Green Bay's defense, not his ability. I mean, just looking kind of at his performance in Atlanta, he did go 5 for 6 for 76 yards, which is actually, quite a bit, averaging about, 15 yards or so a play. So with Green Bay's, porous defense, he could, and Jefferson's ability, and if Addison's available, their ability to stretch the field, Green Bay's ability to give up those stretches. We could look at some pretty big plays that could help him out. I think he'll be the lower of the owned, but I think at 13.5, I think that's reasonable. Can't have a quarterback too low salary-wise, just for the sheer potential that literally they touch the ball every play. Well, every offensive play, excuse me, or basically. Jordan Love, I think he does have potential. 4 out of the last 6 games, he's gone over 20 fantasy points. Minnesota, is pretty stingy about giving up passing TDs, only averaging about 1. Minnesota hasn't allowed a quarterback over 20 fantasy points since week 2 and 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's interesting right there, right? Even Jordan Love hit 15.5 last time they went up. Still seems like fumbles are an issue with him, just pestering him. He did have a rushing touchdown, so that's one upside I do like about him. He is mobile. I think he needs to be maybe a little bit more mobile. I think that would put the defenders back on their heels a little bit more. So last 2 games, 2 touchdowns apiece. So I think if he could come out and do basically kind of what he did, I would like obviously a little bit more yardage from him. But I think Green Bay definitely has a chance with Jordan Love. He's looking pretty good. I mean, he's literally throwing it to rookies. So, every single one of his pass catchers are a rookie. So that's crazy. So yeah, that's basically it for the. Oh, he's rough projection. They have him at sitting about 18 fantasy points, so that is below the 20 mark. So 18 projected 18 at 16K. That's pretty rough there. So.
Yeah.
Moving on over to the running backs. Looking like Aaron Jones is healthy for the moment. He did come back last week and hit about 127 rushing yards. He didn't get into the passing game as much as he usually is, and he eluded the end zone. So I'm really hoping he stays healthy or stays in. We need him, like literally hands down our best player. So if he can stay healthy, I think we have a pretty good shot. So let me see, what do I have there? Yeah, they're actually pretty stingy against the run. So giving up only about 55 yards to running back. So moving down to the other Green Bay, he's at 14.5. That's a reasonable price. Projected about 11 fantasy points for him. Going down to A.J. Dillon, they have him at 10 fantasy points. I don't know. I think he's becoming, I don't know. He was obviously the main one when Jones is down, but he's now becoming, I think, that gold line, third down back. He still does have some potential, but it doesn't seem like he was getting the yardage like he was last year. And I think I mentioned this previous on other pods other videos that we have posted here, that he hasn't looked good. I have high hopes for Patrick Taylor. He is getting a few more snaps in. He did get 3 against it, but he was actually in. He was actually in for 20 snaps, and Dillon was actually in for 12. So have some potential there. I think he's better. They just need to, better than Dillon, excuse me. But they just need to give him plays that he can, utilize. Moving over to the Minnesota running backs, Chandler, I think he's going to have a freaking field day. They have him projected at about 10 fantasy points. I think he'll get more. Green Bay can't stop the run for anything. Don't have really any frame of reference against Green Bay. He didn't play against them. But he's not the best running back. But the Green Bay is just that bad against the run. So, he's definitely going to have... I think he's going to have a field day, to be honest. We've literally given up 20 fantasy points to running backs. a lot. For basically, weeks 13 through 15. So those 3 weeks in a row, we gave up 20 plus to running backs. So keep that in mind. And then Matson, I don't think he's a good running back, but it looks like he still is getting. He's still on the field, so there is potential for him to, get some yards and snake a touchdown. So that's my views on the running back. What do you got?
Nope. I'm basically right there with you. At Ty Chandler at 10.5 also, to me, is that salary's pretty freaking solid. Especially that seems a little low to me with how bad your run defense is, and just kind of the overall game script that I'm kind of seeing in my head. And if it is a run battle, I'll definitely have some Chandler. And then as far as Mr. Aaron Jones, I mean, it's quite the difference at 14.5. Makes it obviously a little bit more difficult to get him into your lineups. It's all going to come down to my game scripting. I'll be making 10 to 15 lineups for this. And it's going to be about as I do some lineup building, who I can fit where based on the game script outcome, kind of. So I will have exposure for sure, to some Jones, to some Chandler, Addison. To be honest, whether he's in or out doesn't make a difference.
Matt.
Oh, sorry, I was looking at the wide receiver. My bad. Mattinson. Yeah, I'm just not impressed. He seems like just the dude that does a little bit of the dirty work, kind of, is clearly the RB2, but yeah, I'll just leave it at that. He's not getting the red zone stuff. He's not just not doing it. But Chandler definitely, I see this being a pretty run heavy game. So yeah, Chandler at 10-5 is super solid, and I'll definitely have some Jones. So I'm sticking with the RB1s on this one. So I guess that kind of brings us over to the wide receivers. Man, yeah, we definitely got some good ones on. I mean, arguably, one of the top, if not the top in the league, with Mr. Justin Jefferson. He's clearly getting healthier. I mean, he's got 10 targets in his past 2 games. Against Detroit, he was 6 for 10 for 141 yards and a touchdown. Had 10 targets the game before that. Now, again, with who's throwing him the ball, can that guy get him the ball? I mean, I know Justin can go out and get the ball, but it's going to be real interesting, man. He might get, this could be a 15 target type game where it's small dump offs. Usually when that happens, it's going to the tight end. But you never know what kind of scheme and what they're going to work up. Since I'm sure Minnesota's coach knows that Green Bay's run defense isn't exactly the best. So again, I could see Ty Chandler getting a lot of work. Going down the line, Watson for you guys probably isn't playing.
I don't think he's playing. He's doubtful.
Yeah, I don't think he is either. That's huge. That's just rough. So we got Romeo Doubs as your wide receiver 1. I've liked him all year. Great player. It's just, and again, I'll definitely have exposure to him, especially if I don't know. My inner self thinks you guys are actually going to win this game because of Minnesota's quarterback. So, if that's the case, you guys will be running the ball a little bit more. You're not going to be playing quite from behind. And if you are, then Jordan Love, Jaden Reed, and Dobbs can definitely get it done. I personally like how you guys use Jaden Reed. We've covered Green Bay a couple of times. Every time I have access that I can put Jaden Reed in my lineup, I put him in my lineup. So have him in your lineup. He's 12-5. He does more than just a wide receiver. Have him in your lineups. At 1,000 less with Dobbs, also great. I mean, if you can't fit in Reed and there's a lineup where you're not going to have Reed in it, going that 1,000 less to Dobbs is definitely a good way to go. Kind of scrolling down. Again, it's all hindered on this other quarterback. Like every stat that I'm going to have in front of me, as far as wide receivers for the Vikings, is more or less out the window. So my default is the tight end, which we'll get to them, but that's always who they go to. They go to the tight end, or they go to like wide receiver 4, the guy that they're getting the reps with the second team, or outside of practice, or on the practice squad. or whatever. It's not wide receiver 1 or 2. It's usually some random dude who's down the depth chart because that's who he's used to throwing the ball to. So I'll be looking I'll be looking down there to pay for some lower guys, kind of like a Brandon Powell. He's at 6,500. I'll be looking at yeah, I really like Powell, to be honest. I mean, because Osborne is 9,000, and so for 2,500 less, I mean, sign me up all day. I mean, I know last game Osborne did have 7 targets, 5 catches, 95 yards, and a touchdown. That's all fine and dandy. So have him in some of your lineups. Don't be stupid. Don't ever ignore anybody. Definitely learned that lesson. But other than that, I mean, I don't know the situation with Wicks. Questionable with the chest and the ankle. So, he hasn't practiced all week. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. And then, the Wicks news is going to be big because that's going to really determine how far down I can go wide receiver wise. You'd know better than me, but with you being a diehard Green Bay fan, what are your thoughts on some of these wide receivers?
Yeah, going back up, starting with Watson. Yeah, I don't think he's playing, and I mean he's been pretty good when he does play, but if he only plays, every other week or so, I don't really consider that good. Like, I mean, as good as you are, man, if you can't stay healthy, you're no good on the sideline. So hopefully he does get healthy. Stay out this game if you need to. He's doubtful. I don't think he's going to. And maybe if we do win, or when we win, you'll be available against the Bears next week because we'll still need that W there too. Jaden Reed, yeah, I like him. They're using him similar to how they Deebo Samuel's like a gadget player, so he's definitely in the passing game. He does have a few rushing touchdowns as well, so that's really nice to see. Injuries with these wide receivers is just crazy. It just seems like literally like every single receiver for Green Bay was on the injury report this morning. A lot of it cleared up today, early, I guess after the practice today. So yeah, definitely Reed. I definitely prefer Reed. I'd pay up to 1,000 easily over Dobbs. I know Dobbs has been pretty decent with a few catches, but I don't know. It just Reed seems to be, pretty active in there. Keep going down for Green Bay. Wicks will be another one. I'll be hinging on that news too because I think he is a pretty solid player. Just he can't stay healthy as well. So looking over it. He was out week 12, and he only had a few snaps, about 40% of snaps last week. So. But Jaden Reed was also out, so he probably took up both Jaden Reed and Watson were out last week. So a lot of these players did get a little bit of extra in. So I'll be curious to see. So it's going to be Reed, Dobbs, and then if Wicks is good to go, I'm assuming it'll be him. But I'll be keeping an eye too on if they recall this Bo Melton guy back up from the practice squad. He did pretty good last game coming in. 6 targets, 4 catches, 44 yards. And Matt LaFleur said he had some pretty good words to say about this guy. Malik Heath, he's also been getting. He was actually in 77% of the snaps last week. Didn't really do too much with those, but he's on the field, so the potential is there to get points. Right? Whereas Bo Milton was on the field only about 38% of the time. So definitely if you're going to pay down these two, Melton and Heath, I would just kind of, that would really hinge on the Wicks news because obviously you need roughly 3 receivers typically. So with Reed and Dobbs, then it'd basically be a mixture between Melton and Heath if they recall Melton back up from the practice squad, which I think they will. Moving over to Minnesota, don't really have to spend too much time on Justin Jefferson. He's ridiculous. Like I said, the guy that shut him down last year, held him to 2 catches, 20-something yards after, like 5 straight games of 200 plus was Jair Alexander, and we decided to suspend him for this game. So, Justin Jefferson, I really hope you don't have a 200 plus game, but I have a feeling that it will happen even with Jaron Hall. I just think our defense is pretty bad. We gave up 300 yards to Bryce Young, and he's terrible. So,
Bryce Young himself is good. It's that his O-line's horrible and his whole team's horrible.
Okay.
But I got you.
So I'm really. Some of my lineups are going to be hinging on this news. Jordan Addison looks like he is questionable. He did have a limited practice both, Thursday and Friday. I hope he doesn't play as a Green Bay Packer fan, but as a fantasy owner, I'll definitely be going quite a bit him. Paying down $4K. Justin Jefferson's a beast, I get it, but Addison has the same potential. 28 point, and he's $4K less, so that's like DFS gold right there. KJ Osborne, sure. He had a pretty good game against Detroit. I'll be curious to see how he fares with whatchamacallit.
With Hall.
With everybody kind of going in. He it looks like Addison did go out, I think, last game. He didn't come back in. He'll be in there for sure. And then moving on down, Brandon Powell. I think his play will really hinge on the Addison news. Mainly for that. And then I was really looking at this Naylor guy coming back, but they officially ruled him out. So, that's about it for the wide receivers. Nothing too. I'm glad the injuries cleared up. Made it a little bit better to talk about them. So he said, we'll wait to see. But moving on over to the tight ends, I think we have some decent tight ends on Green Bay. Tucker Kraft, I like him. He stepped up pretty huge with Musgrave going down. We had really high hopes with Musgrave. So once Musgrave's back, and now we know Kraft, we'll have 2 solid, pass catching tight ends to utilize. But he's definitely been in the passing game. So look for him to potentially get a touchdown here. The Minnesota's not the best, but they're also not the worst at guarding tight ends. They do have him only projected about 5 points. I can see him getting a little bit. 5 points, I think, is a little bit low for him. Good news for Packers fans: Hawkinson is out. So that's freaking huge because that dude is a freaking beast. So to replace Hawkinson for Minnesota, Josh Oliver would be, I guess, their quote-unquote number 1 tight end, which I think he's actually going to get replaced, but that's just my own opinion. Not too much, to kind of report on the tight ends just because they haven't been utilized too much, because Hawkinson's been such a, involved in everything. None of the other tight ends really got the time to shine. But I think this Johnny Munt guy, he did get more snaps than Oliver last game. So keep that in mind, where I think Munt got about 42%, whereas Oliver got 36% of the snaps. So with Hawkinson out, if you kind of kept it the same, it's probably going to be about maybe 60-40 split roughly. So save you an extra 500 just dropping down to Munt too. So that's how I see the tight ends. How you see it? How you seeing them?
Yeah, pretty similar to you. I've been pretty big on Kraft ever since Musgrave went down. Um, his price seems to have even basically stayed the same. I guess I could say I was expecting a little more from him. I was thinking a little more touchdowns. Um, I did pull up, the red zone chart over the last 4 weeks, and it just seems like uh, you guys like to run the ball in because uh, Aaron Jones is number one with red zone tries. AJ Dillon is number two, and then Jaden Reed is number three, which is arguably a receiver gadget run in. And then Patrick Taylor is number four, and then Tucker Kraft. So, I mean, let's just say Green Bay likes to run the ball in when y'all are in the red zone. So, that pulling that up made me just a little weary, but I guess if someone is going to get it in there, it's going to be Kraft. And again, that's just over the last 4 weeks. Take that for what it's worth. I know injuries are in and out. Every game's its own game, any given Sunday. As far as Oliver goes, he's at 7.5 as well. Ah, man, it's tough. I mean, he's got 2 touchdowns on the whole year, and at the most targets he's ever gotten is 4. So that seems a little rough, which probably means he's going to get a touchdown. I mean, I guess he is kind of splitting it kind of with Munt, but I mean, Munt doesn't even have a touchdown, and he's not getting a whole lot of looks either. As far as the red zone goes, yeah, they've been pretty equal. And I mean, as you can tell, Munt obviously missed a couple games.
Yeah, but keep in mind too, no Hawkinson. He went out. He's done. And then
that was.
And then it's 4-string quarterback throwing it to these tight ends who's probably going to see quite a bit of targets.
More targets. Yep, that's my. Yeah, I totally forgot. Man, that's crazy. I totally forgot about Hawkinson. That was a huge blow for them. That's rough. So, Red, definitely, especially with the pricing on all those guys, definitely guys you'll be able to fit into your lineup, and I'll have exposure. I'll have a little bit of exposure to each of them. I'm still going back and forth on how I think this game is going to play out. I could see it being high scoring just because because Minnesota's going to turn the ball over, and I know that your defense, isn't the best, but because of their quarterback and the offense, unless they just straight run it down your throat, this is a big game. Yeah, it's a big game. So it's going to be interesting. I can't wait. It's actually going to be a great matchup. So I think we both kind of covered the tight ends. We could kind of pop over to basically the defense and the kickers. If I take a quick peek, I mean, oh wow, a defense at 8,500. So Minnesota's 85, Green Bay Packers at 9. That's interesting. And I mean, who can forget the Thanksgiving game where the Green Bay Packers defense was MVP, won someone $100,000. You guys aren't playing Detroit. You're playing Minnesota. I mean, you guys did mention happened to get 3 sacks and a fumble recovery. So, still not bad. And I think, again, if they're putting the Packers at 9K above the Vikings, again, it's because of Vikings scenario. I'll definitely have exposure to both defenses. To be honest, I see some contrarian stuff in that area, but maybe me thinking it's contrarian means it isn't. Usually chalk comes to mind first. It is only a 1-point spread. Usually means the kickers come into play. Um, you know, Carlson, I mean, dude, he's been at least getting the attempts, and it seems like they're not afraid to go from too long either. So, he's 2 for 2, 2 for 2, 3 for 4, 2 for 2, along with 3 extra points, 3 for 3, 1 for 1, 2 for 2, and 3 for 4. So, and at 8-5, man, that's amazing. Usually I see kickers at like 9-5, so that's what's up. Joseph at 8K. Joseph at 8K, assuming they get into your red zone and can't do much, and the Minnesota wins, he might be in the optimal lineup just because I see them winning by you guys stopping him from getting in the end zone and him having to do some extra leg work. And he's not a shabby kicker, so I'll have exposure to the kickers and the defenses. What are your thoughts here on the defense and kickers?
Yeah, Carlson, I mean, he's batting 80%. So, I mean, yeah, he's been doing pretty good, but he has missed a few extra points, which that's embarrassing.
Which that is embarrassing.
Field goals, I haven't done too much research if they were like, 50-plus yard field goals or if they were, 30, 40 yard field goals. So just keep in mind in that he hits 8 out of 10, 4 out of 5. So if there's 5 things here, you just keep in mind he might probably miss one. Green Bay does like to go for it a lot too on 4th and short. Keep that in mind. They go for it a lot, especially in the red zone, or on our side of the field. So that could hinder him. Hinder him as well. Joseph, yeah, I think if they do, I think they'll take points when they can, just because it is that quarterback. So if he can get down there and snake in some points, then yeah, for sure. Both defenses are, I think, viable. Jordan Love is prone to turn it over with the fumbles and throws interceptions too. Green Bay Packers, we do have quite a bit of fumble recoveries here. Not as many INTs as typical. Need to get our sacks up, but I think with maybe a rookie, and like you said, he might be trying to overprove himself and making bad decisions. So we could see maybe an INT pick 6 from Green Bay this game. So yeah.
Although you did mention your best cornerback is out of the game, suspended, which is
we have some pretty good ones though to back it up. Valentine's, our safety Owens, and things like that. They've been actually pretty decent. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, hey, if you watched the Niner game over the weekend and you saw how the ball, two of Purdy's 4 interceptions were, the ball was like caught, but it was thrown so hard or whatever, it bounced, and then tip drill where it shot way up in the air and it magically landed in Baltimore's hands twice. I mean, that's football. That could definitely happen here.
Yeah, but that's really it for for the defenses and stuff. But so I think we broke down as much as we're going to. So pushing over here. So after all that stuff that we said, and hopefully everybody took notes and jotted down things. Moving over here to your lineup, like what do we got?
Yeah, so basically MVP shouldn't be too much of a shock. I'm going Jordan Love. I think the ball is going to be in his hands a lot more it, I just see you got the time of possession should be with Green Bay, between, already having Jones show that he's healthy. Usually he's had some type of injury designation tag next to him each game. It's nice to see, like, right now he's saying he's ready. So, between that, I see you guys having the ball a little bit more. Um, Jordan Love, for Jordan Love to come out and lose to this other quarterback, it would be embarrassing. And everything really is on the line here. I mean, it's on the line, and it's more on the line for Jordan Love, even more so than it is. There's kind of some built-in excuses for Minnesota, unlike there is, as much there would be for Green Bay. So I'm going Jordan Love MVP. Um, Justin Jefferson being back, I can't help but think he's going to try to impact this game in any way he possibly can. Whether it be, he might get 17 targets, he might get 20 targets. They might be short ones, but he's a guy that can get yards after the catch, um, and break stuff down. I just couldn't get away from him, basically. So I went ahead and went him. Then I went Jaden Reed. There's just, going with Jordan Love, I have to pair him up with a receiver. So Jaden Reed is everything. And I mean, I'll force him into put it this way. He's so good, I will force him into lineups if necessary and make an adjustment somewhere else. So I got Jaden Reed, and then because the game is so close, I went ahead and went Green Bay's kicker. I feel like if it comes down to it, it could be the game-winning field goal from Carlson. It could be from 45 out. It could be from 55 out. This game, to me, there's really no middle ground here. I think this is either going to be a very high-scoring game, or a very low-scoring game. I just don't see a whole lot of middle ground. And then, obviously, I went ahead and went with Brandon Powell. With him being one of the lower wide receivers, obviously it also hinders on, well, whether Addison is in or not. When someone's hurt and you're out there and it's an ankle and you're out there cutting, I mean, he could easily be out there for, half the snaps that what he usually is. Especially if Green Bay pulls ahead early or something, or his ankle swells up, or there's just so many different factors that is going to give Powell some extra targets. And I feel like the quarterback would be just more in tune with him, with Powell. And so with that, that allowed me to leave 1,500 on the table. And, in a big GPP, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to leave money on the table. And, I was trying to look to see where I might go if I didn't go Carlson. I'm not really sure at the moment. I'll be making, like I said, the more comfortable I feel about stuff, the more lineups I make. So as I dive in, we get closer to game time, I get the actual injury news. I may make some adjustments, but regardless of the news, I mean, unless Jaden Reed's out, or, what I'm saying, or something like Jordan Love doesn't show up to the game, like physically, I mean, this lineup will be put in, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like it. I think it definitely will. I think it will. I mean, even with the 1,500, I still think it might be pretty owned, just because I think Jordan Love will be, in that MVP spot more than others. Justin Jefferson, I mean, you kind of got to play him. I mean, fading him,
Yeah.
like, I get it, and I think that's Like if Addison doesn't play, like you almost have to play Jefferson. Like I can fade Jefferson for Addison, like, and I would feel okay. But yeah, Jordan Reed, like you said, yeah, he's just utilized too much in the Green Bay offense not to pick him, and he's good. And it seems like at least him and Love are at least on the same page as of now. Carlson, yeah, based on the scenario you're going with, the kicker for sure, and then Powell. I think that's going to be, like I said in the breakdown, news dependent for me. With Addison, if Addison's out, I'll have more Powell. If Addison's in, I will have less Powell. And I think that's obviously going to be how his ownership is determined as well. So, but yeah, no, I like it. I definitely will probably steal it and put it in. So in case we all,
nice.
In case we win, we all win.
We're together. So, I mean, I have no clue what your lineup's looking like.
Okay, moving on over to my lineup here. All right, you're probably a little surprised here. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
So, okay, just first off, this is obviously we're putting these into the tournament play, right? So, I don't think Jaron Hall is going to be highly owned in the MVP. But I know the Green Bay Packers literally just made Bryce Young look like a freaking, prime all-star. So if I'm not saying he's going to, and obviously as a Green Bay fan, I hope he doesn't. But as a DFS player, I want him to, because if he is 10% owned or 12% owned, and I have him in MVP, well, guess what? Out of the 40,000 people I'm competing 100K for, 10% of that, now I'm competing with only 4,000. So, whereas in Jordan Love I have there, and he's 30% owned or 40% owned, then I'm competing still against 20,000 people. So, this is purely, like I said, a tournament play. Obviously, pairing Hall up with, Jefferson, he needs a pass catcher. I can substitute, Jefferson, finagle that with that. Like we said, if Addison comes in, I might have another lineup similar to this, but with Addison, and then obviously I can alter down because I'll have an extra 5K to kind of, to play with. Jordan Reed being obviously one of the better Green Bay receivers, I had to utilize him in there. Had to go with Minnesota's running back because Green Bay is terrible against the run. Like, we're literally giving up 100 plus, yards to running backs on the daily. Like, even games that, like on Tuesdays when we're not playing, we're still giving up 100 yards. So I had to put in a running back, and I think Chandler's gonna get the bulk of the carries compared to Madison. And I actually looked at it. Green Bay is very porous against RB1s, but we're actually pretty solid against RB2s, holding them. I think I went back, and we haven't given up more than 2 fantasy points to RB2 since week 1. So
wow,
for whatever that's worth. But we do give up 20 plus for running back ones. And then obviously Tucker Kraft also being part of the run game. If I was able to maybe go down from Addison, Jefferson to Addison, I would probably try to bump up Kraft. Maybe throw in, I'll have a 11.5. I can even throw in a Dobbs there, and I wouldn't mind. I actually have 12.5. Yeah, I'll probably throw in a Dobbs here. I'll still have about 1,000 left over. But I'm not really too worried about the salary, as in Jaron Hall is already going to be so low owned that's my way to be contrarian there. Obviously, leaving more salary off will help, but I think that alone will put me, at least in that top 10% if it pans out. So what do you think?
So my first thoughts are, as a diehard Green Bay fan, what you're telling me is, hey, if we lose, at least I have a chance at making a whole lot of money.
I can live with that.
Yeah.
Because if
But
Green Bay wins, I can't pay my light bill with that.
yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
So
Very. I mean, again, because it's a wild card, and who knows? I mean, we really don't know. The only comparison I thought that might be slighted was about the Carolina and giving up, 300 yards or something to that quarterback. It's because they've been playing all year. This is this dude's first start, and he hasn't even gotten a whole lot of snaps. So I just don't know.
I
But
100% agree with you.
yeah,
100% agree with you.
Like I said, I mean, again, we're here to provide. This is a amazing tournament lineup for sure. And then pairing him with Justin Jefferson, who we know is going to do everything humanly possible and unhumanly possible to pull this game out for Minnesota. So I like it. You got him in there. And then that also is saying, like you said, with Chandler with the RB, that's smart because it's like, okay, Minnesota's going to be having a lead, and Chandler, like you said, between your run defense and Minnesota maybe being up, and then also the quarterback really, if he's not handing the ball off, he should be throwing it to Justin Jefferson. I mean, let's just be real. That's what should happen. And then coming back, the comeback with the two Green Bay guys, yeah, Jaden Reed, staple. I mean, if you're going one Green Bay guy, it has to be Jaden Reed. And then Kraft, I like the Kraft pick. And you still got 1,000 on the table. Yeah, solid GPP. If you were making just one lineup, I would say that is too risky. That's just me. But if you were making 2, 3, 5 lineups, then doing that as one of them would be totally fine. If you're just making one lineup, just know that is a high risk one, high reward lineup.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I'll be making quite a few, but this one, like I said, I'm gonna actually have a few lineups with Minnesota obviously winning. And that's maybe I'll put Jefferson up there, whatever. But moving on over. What do you guys think of our lineups? Let us know in the comments below. We would like to hear from you. Am I out of my mind thinking, Jaron Hall, or hey, this might be, if I win 100K, I'll let you know.
Hey.
But yeah, just please let us know down in the comments, and we'll be more than happy to address any questions or comments, concerns that you guys have.
Outburst. Yeah.
So yeah, before we get into our predictions, we might have another tournament, I think, for this game.
Yeah, man, just like we do every Thursday night, every Sunday night, we have a tournament. Just check out the link in the description. There'll be a link. It is absolutely free to enter. It's only a 100-person tournament, so make sure to get in there quickly. Once it fills, it's open to the public. It fills up. If your lineup beats my lineup and David's lineup, and you take first place, I will gladly Venmo you $100. Just as a nice little golf clap. Very nice. Good to you. The only caveat is you just have to email us proof that you've liked the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell.
Yeah. So
everything there free. So free, and then here's $100 if you can beat us. How does that sound?
Yeah, it sounds good to me. I am still trying to win it, so.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't beat myself. I can beat you. So, try to beat you, I should say.
You can try.
But then I also still have to beat the other people as well. So, but yeah, doing that, let's get to our predictions here. I mean, we're already pretty far along in this video. So what do you got? MVP, value pick, and your overall game prediction.
And so, yeah, at MVP, I mean, I don't know how not to go Jordan Love. I almost want to say Jaden Reed. I feel like Jaden Reed's going to be the difference maker, but fantasy point why it's just Jordan Love has to show up here. I have to say Jordan Love. There's no, I believe in the dude. I've seen his ups, I've seen his downs. Hey, dude, you're looking at a guy who had Jimmy G as his quarterback, Trey Lance for not too long, and then Mr. Irrelevant. So I'm getting really good at assessing quarterbacks, and I think Jordan Love, he just needs some consistency and some help. So, but this is a game he can really step up and just take over this game and show him what's up. I'm gonna go him with the MVP. I'm gonna go with value play. I'm gonna go with, as much as I was gonna go with Powell. I'm actually, man, you know what? I don't really know if I'm gonna call it value or not, but I'm gonna go ahead and say Ty Chandler at 10.5. Actually, forget it. Jaden Reed at 12.5 is still absurd. I know I'm going too high priced people. That should be not allowed. Jaden Reed at 12.5
He technically
has to
could
be
be the
lineup.
best value if he scores that many points. I mean, it's
I
really
know,
a
yeah.
point to salary ratio. So
It's gonna be Jordan Love to Jaden Reed all night long, all different ways. That's how they're gonna win this game. So yeah, that's my vote. So Jordan Love will be MVP. Jaden Reed must be in the majority of your lineups. And overall prediction, I'm gonna go with, man, I'm pulling for you guys, man. I'm gonna go Green Bay. I'm gonna go Green Bay 20. Green Bay. Wow, man. Green Bay. Say 27 or 28. Green Bay 27. I'd rather it be 28 with the way that fantasy goes. Let's just call it 28. F it. 28. Green Bay 28. Minnesota. Minnesota 14. I mean, I just don't see their quarterback, and I know what they got. I just don't see it happening. 28-14 Green Bay, dude.
Nice.
Two touchdowns. Hey, call me crazy, dude, but I've seen this. I've seen this before. I've seen this.
Nice.
Seen this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a little bit different on the MVP. I think. I know obviously everybody's gonna be, oh, you picked Jaren Hall. No, I picked Jaren Hall simply as I'm hoping he is the MVP. Obviously, I really hope he is the MVP because I would like 100K more than Green Bay winning, to be honest. Hey, like I said, I'm a diehard Green Bay fan, but 100K is 100K.
Yeah,
it is what it is. We'll get him next year.
Yeah.
But no, I think Aaron Jones is going to be my MVP. I think if he's healthy, I think we're going to be feeding the ball both rushing and running. I can see him easy 2 touchdowns, and that would put him over potentially Jordan Love. Unless they're both, pass catches. But I think Aaron Jones has I think Aaron Jones will probably be MVP if I had to pick a person. He's the most comfortable, I feel. Jordan Love, where I can definitely see him. I would like to see more there. Or I would obviously pick Jefferson, but I can't trust Hall fully. As far as value pick, I'm gonna lean down here to probably I'm gonna go really any of the Minnesota tight ends, to be honest. I just think they're gonna be checked down freaking feasting.
Machines.
So it's basically whoever's going to be on the field. And Ty Chandler, I think, is also a good pick because, like, just like Breece Hall did the other day, dude had 16 targets. And that's when Simeon and all they were doing is those little check down plays. So if Chandler can get 16 targets and then 100 yards or whatever, I mean, he definitely could be MVP and value. So yeah, I would say one of these, to be honest. Oliver, I'd say maybe Moon, just because I think he'll be the tight end one at 7K. As far as game score, I'm going Green Bay 33, Minnesota 27.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, 33.
So a little bit tighter of a matchup, but hey, you got your boys winning. Nice. I was wondering if you were going to pick against them or not.
Well, I almost picked against them just because I swear that every time I pick them to win, they lose, and every time I pick against them, they win. So it's like just out of sheer principle, I was going to pick. Yeah, Minnesota's going to win, and hopefully they won. Yeah. But no, I think we will take it. But like I said, I'm going to play DFS like I'm not a fan. So yeah. Not a fan of the team. I'm a fan of DFS.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that, I hope everybody liked the video. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave comments down below. We'd obviously like to hear from you guys. We'd like to start getting more people involved and hearing from people. Love to chat and see what you guys think. Any kind of suggestions that you can see that we can improve on or keep, or hey, your lineups and you want our opinions on them, we'd be more than happy to share thoughts and things like that. So with that, I'll send it to David for any last comments.
Hey man, hey, go Green Bay. I hope they take it down. I hope Jordan Love wins everybody. This is the game to do it. He's going to win people over. He can't lose this. If he loses this, he might lose his job as your guys' quarterback. So I hope for his sake and Green Bay, I see a lot of potential in him. So I've seen him bad. I've seen him great. I think he's going to be a beast next year if you guys get some other weapons for him and let the team grow. So
and I lied when I said that was it for me. Just keep in mind, there are no more Thursday night football. So we are going to be also, keep doing our Sunday night football matchups and then transition over to playoff football matchups and kind of we're going to work on what games to provide, probably be really what Fanduel's tournaments they offer for each game wise, and then we are going to be starting our NBA videos, so keep an eye on that, especially since football is ending here in the next 2 months, a month and a half or so. So we are transitioning to NBA. We would like you guys to join us.
Yes, sir. Hey, good luck to everyone out there. I hope everyone wins some money, and let's all go out there and get that bag. Good night.